I'm Eric Paul Johnson,
And I'm Eric Wincentsen.
and also today is my birthday, so double blowies for me.
Well, hopefully that's what you get today.
Yeah, sure, if we didn't have a kid around 24/7. Actually, the kid's at school right now, but still, yeah. Um, yeah, it's my birthday, and I couldn't help but notice that nobody deposited $1 million into my PayPal account.
Well, your PayPal account would, from my experience, would have been immediately locked, and you had not had access to that money for probably about 2 or 3 weeks, and you would have had to have provided a bunch of information.
Hmm. Can they do it in chunks? Like here's 20,000 today and 20,000
No,
tomorrow? Oh,
no, that'll get you locked as well.
oh, well. I guess
And then that looks like you're manipulating, so you're going to what's called no appeals, which
oh,
means that it's just completely locked out forever.
oh dear.
I enjoyed doing that to people.
Well,
Because these people were criminals, they weren't actual customers.
yeah. Well then, I guess just send a cashier's check for $1 million and Wincentsen will get it to me.
Yep, I'll send it to him, and then he can wait the he can wait the 2 weeks before they let him have the money while they investigate where the cashier's check came from.
No, that won't help me at all. I just realized this. I can't just go to my bank. Here you go. I'd like to deposit this because my bank, the nearest branch of my bank, is 1,600 miles southwest of me.
Hmm.
Um, they don't have branches for that credit union outside of Arizona, I think.
Yeah. Let's just say that when you walk in wanting to cash a large amount of money, anything over about 10,000, all of a sudden all the alarm bells go off.
I guess that's true.
And if you try to do it in small chunks, even more alarms go off because
Mm,
then they wonder what you're up to.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. Briefcase full of cash. You ship it here.
Yep.
Yep.
As long as we report it on the taxes, we're good.
It's a gift.
Yeah, that means 40% of it belongs to the United States government.
No, it's a gift. It doesn't belong to them. They don't get 40% of my Legos or my birthday cake. They can't have 40% of my $1 million birthday cash.
You like jail, don't you?
We got a lot of comments and things to get to
Yes.
because no, it's not related to that. It's related to Bevan, but maybe next week. Um, and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, PayPal, Patreon, the address, postal address, PO box for this is all to get money to us. It doesn't have to be in $10,000 chunks, but if you want to give to the podcast, that'd be great. What is it? About a few more weeks left. If we get some more Patreons or more paid donations that are on a regular rotation, then the podcast will go on. Otherwise, who knows? This all could be coming to an end in a month. Okay. I should have gotten this. Here we go. Okay, first off, we have a new YouTube subscriber, Lissa Rose. Hooray for Lissa.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And she came across the extended remix version that I did for Turn to Stone. It's not perfect. I use different sound sources, but it's as close as I'm going to get until I can either get my hands on the actual tapes for Turn to Stone. Jeff Lynne, if you happen to be listening, we can work something out. Or if ENIAC records a remake of an instrumental version of Turn to Stone. But Liz, I had this to say about it.
I adore E.L.O. I love this song so very much and so glad I found this extended version. Love it.
Thank you. And then she subscribed to the podcast. So hopefully she's listening to the podcast. And hopefully she's enjoying it more than other people who we will
Right.
get
Well,
to.
I'm just glad that we got a comment that wasn't come see my pics at this link.
No, I tend to delete those comments as soon as they come in,
Okay.
and they do come
Yeah.
in. Yeah. Chris Williams had a comment about my Wallace and Ladmo explainification on the Zoomcast, which I think was last week.
Mhm.
Or maybe it was a week before. I don't know. So, Chris Williams is about Wallace and Ladmo. The show was on from 1954 to December 29th, 1989. You should check out the fan page on Facebook. Captain Super couldn't tear the 7-page Aho phone book. Well, he's not wrong about Captain Super. Yeah, and I gave a better explanation of Wallace and Ladmo in the expanded episode of whatever song that related to. Yeah, for it, the official date is April 1st, 1954, when Wallace and Ladmo debuted. That's what they say. Bill Thompson, who was Wallace, once said something like that. An anniversary was coming up. Let's just pick a date so that we can have, the anniversary date. And there was no better date for Wallace and Ladmo than April Fool's. So they say April 1st, 1954. But somebody who's obsessed much about Wallace and Ladmo, as me going through the Billboard charts, went through the local TV guide for Phoenix in the 50s and didn't see a listing for It's Wallace, which was the first version of Wallace and Ladmo, with a question mark at the end of the title, until 1955. I think it was January 1955. So there's the historical correction, although everybody's still going to say April 1st, 54, because for 30 years, 35 years, that's what was drilled into everybody's head. So never let a historical fact change the myth.
Exactly. Yeah, I knew it was Wallace originally, and then Ladmo joined in what about a year
I think so,
in?
something like that. Yeah,
He showed up and it just kind of clicked and
yeah,
worked, and so did Pat McMahon. So
yeah. And yeah, I saw that December 29th final episode. By the way, it used to come on at 7 o'clock in the morning. Unless I have to be at school, or I'm getting paid, or there's sex, or the building is on fire, I don't get up before 9 o'clock. So, but for the last episode of Wallace and Ladmo, I set my alarm and got up at 7 o'clock to watch the last episode. Okay. Now we're moving on to Going Out On Me, which was last week's song.
like some people's version of the title,
Yes,
which we will get to.
yes.
Okay, so Jim Khan says, nice song, nice production, standard doo-wop driven track. And then you guys ruined it all by mentioning Morrissey. All I wanted to if I wanted to hear Bert from Bert and Ernie sing, I'd buy a Sesame Street album.
Well, Eric Wincentsen replied to Jib with, "But that's not as racist, at least."
Yeah, but Bert's not as racist, I should say.
Bert, yes, because Ernie has a different voice than Morrissey. And then
Yep.
Jib replied to Eric.
And Ernie's racist.
Yeah.
I just kidding. Now everybody's looking up Sesame Street. What? Jim Kahn says, Eric, good point. Quite frankly, I didn't know his political leanings until you guys mentioned them. I didn't even know or care if he was still around. I just knew he belonged to a handful of artists from the 80s who I found utterly repellent and confusingly overrated. After your podcast, I did some quick Googling, and I've got to say, his worldview hasn't helped to endear him to me at all. I love Sesame Street, and now I feel bad about the Bert comparison. He doesn't deserve that.
No, he
Now,
doesn't.
one thing that gets me about Morrissey is he is xenophobic, but the reason that he's still relevant in some cases is because the Latin community loves his music.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he has a huge following in the Latin community,
Hmm.
both the Smith and his solo stuff.
You sure they're not doing it to be a hipfully ironic?
No, it's because a lot of his, I guess, a lot of his topics and everything that he sings about is similar to what traditionally a lot of the ranchero and other forms of their folk music
Mm-hmm.
sing about as well. Lost love, not being able to find love, the protagonist ending up dying because of something having to do with lost love or not being able to find love or the wrong love or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it kind of translates well.
Right.
What doesn't translate well, of course, is get
What
out of
happened?
my country.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Which unfortunately they can get that here without going to the UK.
yeah, they
So,
can.
yeah.
Anyways, I loved Morrissey in the 80s and half the 90s because I was painfully shy, socially inept, introverted goober, which does not attract the ladies. So I was soul crushingly depressed and alone, couldn't get a date to save my life. So it was nice to hear Morrissey sing about that, and it's like somebody else gets it. So that's why I was heavy into Smiths and Morrissey. And a lot of that kind of trailed off real quickly after I got laid. Um, building a big playlist on Apple Music, and I got in. I hit the Smiths and was like, oh yeah, I remember this song. I remember this song. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. So yeah, it's been a long time since I listened to the Smiths.
You started identifying more with Bad Company at that point. You like making love.
Well, I always felt like making love. As for getting that love, that was something that's back to Morrissey. Yeah.
Yeah.
um. Okay.
Yeah,
And
that was that was going on to that Bertha Butts song where you got to find a woman, got to find a woman.
yeah, yeah. Well, teenage 20s boy. That's yeah.
Yeah.
And Tanya Farhi. Hopefully, I didn't screw that up as much as I could. Replied to Jib saying, "Now I know who the Erics remind me of. It was on the tip of my tongue all the time, but now I remember. It's Bert and Ernie." Does she mean Sesame Street or the cop and the taxi driver in It's a Wonderful Life?
Hmm. Whenever I think of Bert and Ernie, I know the thing is he's talking about how they sound. It has been so many years since I've watched Sesame Street because I don't have a kid, so I haven't been forced to watch it.
It doesn't
So
matter.
yeah, I don't know what the voices sound like.
Well, I have a kid, and I tried to get her to watch classic Sesame Street, and she wanted none of it. So, yeah, kids aren't
Oh,
watching Sesame Street anymore. Um,
okay,
and mostly with Bert and Ernie, Bert was just the goofy guy, and no, Ernie was the goofy guy who was always irritating Bert, and Bert was
right.
the guy who would always throw a fit. And by the end of the bit, Ernie walks off smiling happy. Well, things are just great, and Bert just makes the grimace face. And then
Oh,
there's
so you're
wah
Bert.
wah music. What's that?
You're Bert.
Yeah, yeah.
No, the one
Um,
I always remember though is from Family Guy, where it shows Ernie's still in bed and Bert getting dressed and going off to be to his job as a cop. And well,
yeah.
yeah, there were lots of insinuations about Bert and Ernie's relationship, which we will not get into.
No, because as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned, They're just roommates. I had roommates
Exactly.
5 years ago. They were guys. We were not into each other. We were just there because Flagstaff is expensive and we're going to college, so we needed to pool resources.
And you were still Bert,
I was still Bert.
surrounded
Yeah,
by a bunch of Ernies.
yeah. Anyway, moving on.
MJ Fold says, in my mind, I always change this to Going Down on Me. This is not an AC/DC song by song podcast.
Go down on your on what I sent
On
you.
the subscribe button.
No. Go down on your Facebook message that I sent you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We update.
Yes, that came in this morning.
Yes. When he took some time to think about his behavior.
Yeah.
I love the idea of this song being stripped back with a doo-wop group backing Jeff up. It is crying out for real strings, but it could have been great just a cappella. Just Jeff with the aforementioned doo-wop group. I think we should all be relieved Jeff used out in the title instead of down, as that would have been a whole other song.
Yes, it would have. Oh, did MJ Folds write something else? I think so. I guess he did. MJ Folds, what about going down to Rio? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. I wasn't paying attention, I guess, when I put this all together. Anyway, up next.
And Corey Gomel says, I've had it. No, I've sorry.
It's somebody else
I've
coming up.
said it before, and I'll say it again. Jeff Lynne and the 1950s sound is a perfect match. Maybe he was born too late. What I would really love to hear is Jeff and Stray Cat Brian Setzer together. Both have a knack for making new fantastic 50s sounding songs. Did someone say Wilburys Part 2? No? Okay, maybe it was just me. I love this song.
It was just you.
Brian Setzer would be somebody great for him to work with, actually.
I would love to see. I would love to hear Jeff and Brian work together. That'd be freaking awesome. And we got a phone call. Somebody left us a message.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
got a phone call from a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and okay, that was supposed to play. For some reason, I'm having a bit of difficulty.
Okay.
I can remedy that
Okay.
rather quickly.
All right, play some bass music while we wait. That's all I remember from Mr. Blue Sky. I haven't played my bass in a long time, so I can't remember anything. I can't. I used to be able to play the bass for Mr. Blue Sky. And Don't Bring Me Down. And Telephone Line. So we'll just put this back over here where it can't hurt anybody.
And there we go. Okay, let's see if we can get it to play on this thing here. And if we do it this way.
Oh, look at how things that eat up some time.
Oh, I had this set, and all of a sudden I push a button, and of course, it just freezes.
All right. Well, we'll have to do it this way.
And no, I've got it. I've got it set here.
Is it working now?
It's going to be working. 1 second here.
Okay. In the 90s today here in Troy, Illinois, going to be a heat index of 100 degrees. Happy birthday, me. It's like living in Phoenix.
Hi, Eric and Derek. This is Claudio from Miami. and I hope you recognize the irony in what you all are doing. You're doing exactly what you're accusing Jeff of doing. You're becoming boring, predictable, always the same thing. You don't like the drumming. Best Seven was so much better. In fact, I think From Out of Nowhere is a fabulous record. Some of the songs that you poo-pooed are fantastic. All My Love is a beautiful, beautiful song. I love it One More Time. I'm sure you're going to pan Time of Our Life as well. I think they're fabulous songs. I think it is no problem at all that Jeff is working by himself. I understand that you wish he would repeat what he did on El Dorado and Out of the Blue with a full orchestra. That repetition would be good, but the repetition that you're accusing him of doing, that one's bad. I think you need to look at your podcast, and I think you need to look in the mirror and think carefully about what you're doing. I don't think you should continue with the podcast if you're not giving Jeff a fair shake. And I don't think you should consider continuing with the podcast if, in fact, he comes out with another record, because you're going to pan it no matter what. So have a nice day and listen to the record again.
First of all, has one of us been fired and replaced with some guy named Derek?
That's what I was wondering. All that time in jail.
We can't. EPJ cannot be allowed to be part of this podcast because anytime he gets on Facebook, he winds up going in jail. This time because he threatened to throat punch people who write passed away instead of passed away.
Well, well, whoever Derek is, I kind of addressed, to give a little bit of a spoiler, I think I kind of addressed that a little bit in our last episode, because it's been rather difficult to actually try not to make the whole thing boring and repetitive. That's kind of why we've gone off on tangents a bit in the podcast towards the end, is because it hasn't really given us anything else to say. I mean, when there's good songs, we actually do say they are good songs. But for the most part, we're just given the same thing over and over again. You notice that even if you open up a thesaurus, there's still a limited amount of words.
Yeah. We've been on a couple of podcasts lately and talking about E.L.O. and our little podcast here. And one of the questions asked either before the interview starts or during the interview is, how you're going to feel when this is all over with in or middle of June, something like that. Usually my answer has been, I'm going to look forward to be able to listening to E.L.O. songs again without having to think, what am I going to say about it this week? But I'd like to add to that list. One of the things I'm really going to be glad about is not having to answer to this whine anymore. Because I've said this 100,000 times already. I don't want another El Dorado or another Out of the Blue. No El Dorado return to El Dorado. No Out of the Blue back into the blue. I don't want him to repeat that. I wouldn't mind if he had the orchestra and the choir in there. That'd be great. Put the orchestra back in Electric Light Orchestra. But I don't want it to sound like what I've already heard before. I think I've made that pretty clear over Zoom and Alone in the Universe and From Out of Nowhere. Oh, here we go. This again. There's ways that Jeff Lynne can sound like E.L.O. without regurgitating the past or the last 3 albums. We, both of us, me and Eric, pointed this out at how much we loved the bonus track from Zoom and the bonus tracks from Alone in the Universe, um, Lucky Motel and Blue, and we really went just crazy love over Out of My Mind, I think it was. Um, go listen to those episodes, because I mean, apparently you haven't listened closely enough since you think one of us is Derek. And apparently you've missed the hundreds of millions of times I said, I don't want him to do what he did before. Do something new, something that sounds different, like those bonus tracks from the last couple albums. Predictable? Boring? We got to work with what we're given, which is why at some point I just shot off into a whole episode about Sweet Georgia Brown, because
We got tired of being predictable and boring.
yeah, exactly. That's it exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're quite aware of what ends up sounding like after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And so it has been kind of get through this
Yeah.
without crashing and burning as much as possible.
Yeah. And Zoom is telling me we got 10 minutes left, so I better get on the rest of my rant. Yes, Bev Bevan was a far, far superior, infinitely better drummer than Jeff Lynne. I'm glad that you think From Out of Nowhere is a fabulous record. I'm glad you like it. I wasn't crazy. Oh, I don't want to give a spoiler away. Maybe I do like it when we get to the From Out of Nowhere bonus tracks episode. But no, I'm glad. I don't like it. Fine, whatever. I'm glad that you like it. I'm glad that Jeff Lynne. I'm glad that it was a #1 album, debuted at #1 on the British album charts. I'm glad to see it succeed. Not really crazy about a lot of the songs, but yeah, go E.L.O., go Jeff, and go you for liking it. That's great. We poo-pooed some fantastic songs, in your opinion. In my opinion, not so much, but so what? there are opinions, and your opinion is right to you. My opinion is right to me. It's not an overall opinion that I've said it, and so it is so. This is also dwelling on the thing about people seem to only pay attention to the bad things or the things you don't like that you say. But I went into the album thinking, not from Out of Nowhere. But then it turns out there's actually a mess of songs from it that I did like, and I did say nice things about. I don't like to do spoilers, but I really want to wallow in this. You are so wrong, since you seem to come at us so like that. We're going to pan Time of Our Life. Oh, for one thing, you obviously haven't listened closely because we did a Time of Our Life mini cast back when it was released as a video, and I liked it back then. And here's the spoiler alert. Wincentsen hated it then. Wincentsen liked it now. Derek over there. Or am I Derek? Which one is Derek?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways.
Hello. My name's
Anyways.
Oh, no, that's Larry, Daryl, and Daryl.
Yeah. Anyways, we both liked Time of Our Life, and we recorded that episode like 6 weeks ago. Usually people criticize the podcast, and I'll be like, okay. I mean, if it's really bad and full of rage, I'll laugh and have fun with it. But this guy said something that got under my skin, and it gets under my skin whenever anybody says this kind of thing, where he said, "Stop doing the podcast if you can't say nice things about the music." It's the arrogance of it that he's going to tell us what to do to stop doing it. I mean, we've told Jeff Lynne, use the touring band, or here's some ways to make the album or songs better, but we never said stop it, stop doing music. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we should stop doing it.
No. We just said do better music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah, we've only got 3 episodes left. Beatles Forever was edited and loaded up to be posted back on March 30th. So we pretty much ran out of E.L.O. songs. They're all done. But maybe it's time to just pull them and we'll just cut the podcast short and stop it right now.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Those episodes are done. They're waiting. I got a little editing to do on the From Out of Nowhere bonus tracks and the farewell episode. But I'm going to spill the beans here. I was going to save it for the farewell episode, but the podcast will go on. And it will go on as Face the Music, the I Hate Every Electric Light Orchestra song by song podcast. And we're just going to pick them all apart. El Dorado.
Even ones you said we liked before, we're going to go back and hate them.
Oh, yeah. El Dorado, with all that big orchestra, stupid album just sounds like Muzak. Telephone line.
In fact, I'm just going to go through that second edition Rolling Stone album guide and just repeat what they said.
Mm-hmm. Telephone line. Yeah. Maudlin crap. Come on, get a backbone and go talk to her. Turn to Stone is 3 minutes of woobity 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 woobity. All you could do. Time, it's just
Horace Wemp, guy deserves a wedgie.
Yeah. Time. What a bland, over-synthesized album. What's the matter? You couldn't get real musicians?
Travel. Nerds.
Yeah. What's the matter? You couldn't get real musicians? So look forward to that. Yeah, look forward to that podcast. And don't cover whatever Jeff does now because you're going to pan it. You do not know what's in my brain. And I've said this 100 million times before. I listen to each song that we're going to do next week 10 to 20 times. So if I don't like a song after 20 times, I think I've given it a fair shake. So anyways, he wishes us a nice day. And for him, I think Lewis Black says it best for me.
Go fuck yourself.
Hey! Language. We're going to be demonetized.
That's it for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's out of my system.
Well, that's good because we've only got about 3 minutes left according to Zoom in order to bring this to a close. So yes. I think after getting that out of your system, I think we're done here.
I think we're done here.